Welcome back, friends from Five Reasons. Ethan Skolnick made it to the bubble. We are in the NBA Finals, and Ethan is there in Orlando. We're gonna be talking about his experience there because it's very interesting, also from the journalistic side of things, how things are developing now in a pandemic. I mean, this is the first time we do this. And Ethan, how are you? How's that 4 hour trip to Orlando? How do you feel about the Miami Heat now that you got to see the guys a little closer? I know you weren't actually there right by
Right.
them, but you're still there in the same place they're running into history right now.
Yeah. I'm here in spirit, right? I ran into a couple of Heat officials at the hotel tonight that they're staying at. So some of the Heat officials are not staying in the bubble per se
Hmm.
with the team. They're tier two, like I am, which basically means they can go to the games, but they can't directly interact with anybody. Although even for tier two, they changed the rules for the finals, so now the media has to test every day. So I was actually over there testing this morning, and I have to go back and test tomorrow, and we'll have to test for every day that I stay up there. My plan is to stay there for games 1 and 2. I think, other than Tim Reynolds from the Associated Press, I think I'm the only Miami reporter who's actually coming up here. So most of the Miami reporters from the quote unquote traditional outlets were not given the go ahead by their superiors to come. So I do think that it's. I haven't, I'm not going to say I have no superior. I have plenty of superiors in the world, but I don't have anybody that I answer to. So I decided to come.
Well,
I,
she's she's in Miami right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. My daughter is the only superior that I have to answer to, and I didn't have her this week. But yes, I think that I think it's an experience that was worth coming for. Even though even at the game, I'll have to sit up top, which is where you've seen Pat Riley sit. He can't sit down there either. But I do think I'll be able to give a little bit more perspective than the reporters who are on their couches, and like I've been for the past 2 months, because I'll be able to see interactions between the players and things along those lines. So we're hoping to bring that to you. I'm on the Zoom calls like everybody else. They are giving priority on the Zoom calls with the players to people who are here. So that was one of the other benefits. And so I was able to get questions in with Dragic, Spolstra, and with Bam today. I was left in queue for Jimmy, but then we also have people on the Lakers calls too. And I know you've put these up on the YouTube channel, so check those out. LeBron spoke for a while, and I think actually that's probably what we're going to
He
get to
spoke for like
today.
an hour. I'm
Yeah,
still downloading the thing.
well, he did. He did stay up there a long time, and I think actually we should start with him. Although I know Heat fans want to get to Jimmy. I thought LeBron took an interesting posture today. He has not wanted to talk about Miami since he left. I tried many times in the 14-15 season because I spent a lot of it in Cleveland following him, because my job for Bleacher Report was not the Heat, it was LeBron. And so I had that job from 2013 through 2015, but unfortunately he left Miami halfway through, so I had to go basically live in Cleveland for a year until my contract expired, and I could get out of that hellhole. And so I was around him a lot, and he never wanted to talk about Miami. I tried many times. I had one-on-one sit-downs with him. It's just not a place he wanted to go. There's a little bit of revisionist history here in his comments today. He was asked a lot about Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra. We kind of covered this in a podcast with George Sedano that is also on the YouTube channel that I suggest you check out. But like this quote, for instance, I'm reading it off my screen here, which is up top. LeBron on Spoelstra: the players and coaches know how great Spo is, and there's this narrative that Spo is not great. And there was some other stuff, so I went ... He prepares his team every night. They're going to play hard. They're going to play together. It's been you guys that have never given him his respect. Now, okay.
Do you agree with LeBron there?
Well, I agree that Spoelstra hasn't gotten his respect. Not Freudian slip. I agree that Spoelstra hasn't gotten general respect like he should, but LeBron played into that. If you go back to the Big Three era, although, again, I can speak to the fact that their relationship improved greatly over time. They had a long sit down in the second season LeBron was here. And basically, Eric said to LeBron, "Are you going to let me coach you now?" And things got better. But that first year was rough. We all know about what happened at 9-8 in Dallas. And all of a sudden, there were leaks from LeBron's camp about him wanting him out. I did feel, spending some time around LeBron after the 4 years in Miami, that he came to appreciate Eric Spoelstra more, especially as he dealt with like David Blatt and some of the other coaches that he's had. But with that being said, it's not really fair to say that it's the media's fault on Spoelstra. and that LeBron doesn't bear some part of the blame. LeBron was never gushing in his praise of Eric. I think there was respect that developed. I think he liked him personally, but his feelings about Spoelstra are not, say, equivalent to what Jimmy Butler's feelings are about Spoelstra. So I thought that was a little bit off cuff. The other stuff was, there was a corollary to that where LeBron kind of scoffed at the notion that any coach could have won with himself, Dwayne, and Bosh. And he said, Spo likes that. That's what fuels Spo, is this disrespect that you guys give him. The basketball world, I'm not going to sit up here and act like I don't know what Spo is all about. He's damn good. And then he kind of wanted to say he's even great. But again, LeBron never said those things while he was playing for him. So it's an interesting posture. Let me get to the Riley comments here today, too. Okay. He said he was asked how he felt about Pat Riley. And LeBron sort of took this long pause and called it a broad question, and then came back with probably one of the greatest minds this game has ever had. The game is not the same without Riles. He's a great guy, great motivator, someone who just knows what it takes to win. Again, there's legitimate praise there, but LeBron had a hard time saying those things after he left. Now, part of it is LeBron was genuinely hurt, and I can speak to this directly. He was genuinely hurt by the way Riley was hurt when he left. He didn't really understand. Now, Heat fans will have a hard time accepting this, but I can tell you LeBron really didn't understand why Pat was so mad. And there was a feeling from LeBron that Pat was taking too much credit for things that were going on. But he did feel like he didn't really get why Riley was taking the jabs at him. The smiling faces with hidden agendas and all that kind of stuff. So I know they've patched their relationship some. I know LeBron has grown up a lot. He even addressed that. He said,
do you think it's the correct thing to say before a series, and especially in the finals, like not give the opposition something else to build up on?
Yeah, I think he doesn't want to give the media more to build up on. I don't think it's the opposition because Pat's not playing and neither is Eric, right? So, LeBron doesn't have any history, playing with any of the guys on the Heat except Udonis Haslem, who doesn't
maybe
play.
Dragic a little bit.
He hasn't played with Dragic though. So he played with Haslem, and he still has a warm. He has a real friendship with Haslem because Haslem is one guy who will call him out, but they're legitimate friends, and that's it. He has respect for Jimmy. I think he has respect for Goran. I've heard him say positive things about Bam. So I think he likes the players on this team, but he doesn't know Tyler Hero. He doesn't know Duncan Robinson. Jay Crowder, he's had some battles with. Andre Iguodala, he's had some battles with. I think there's professional respect with Andre Iguodala, but also LeBron, I can tell you this because I saw all this behind the scenes. He was pretty pissed off in 2015, not so much with losing the finals to the Warriors, but with losing the MVP to Iguodala. He was not happy about that. Okay, so I don't think he's got a big issue. Here's another quote from him that I want to touch on. He said, I went to Miami. He said, what happened to Miami will never leave me. I went to Miami when I was 25 years old. I was 25. I spent 25 to 29. I was still growing. I was still a kid, still trying to figure out who I was as a person, as a man. I grew and they allowed me to grow. I fit perfectly. He kept talking today about fitting in the culture. I think he's tired of hearing about Heat culture. And I think he's tired of the perception that this group embodies it and not his. And he kept saying that, Alejandro. He kept saying,
because
I worked so hard, I fit the culture.
He never was 100% part of the Miami Heat culture, right?
He was not. He was from a work perspective. Mm-hmm. Okay. And that's what he was talking about today. LeBron worked his ass off. Mike Mancias, his trainer, was not. I'm a big Mike Mancias fan, but he was not part of the organization the first year, but then they hired him. And nobody worked harder than LeBron to get ready. So, that's kind of the thing. Nobody worked harder than him there. So the work perspective, I get to. As far as him and the buy-in into kind of the Pat Riley mythology and everything else that goes on with the Heat, not necessarily. So, that's part of it. So I do want to get to one other thing here because I only got a minute. Jimmy Butler's comments today I thought were sort of equally interesting. We'll spend some more time on Bam's on the pod tonight, but Let me give you a couple Jimmy Butler comments, other than the one where he said, even if they win the championship, nobody's getting free coffee. You talk about the difference between LeBron and Jimmy in the way they talk about Spoelstra and Pat. With LeBron, it feels a little forced and after the fact. With Jimmy, it's genuine. He was asked about how he got the Spoelstra jersey. He said, I've got quite a few jerseys tucked away in my room. It's just when is the right time to bring them out. Spo has been huge for me as a player, as a leader, as a human being. I'm grateful for him, just a way to show my appreciation. And he also said that he's talked a lot about how feeling this is the right place for him. But he said that being with the Heat, now I know that being myself is the right way. And it's all because Pat Riley put me in this position and made me feel that way. That is more genuine than LeBron's comments, okay? He also said, I just take being a bad guy, if that's what you want to think. I know who I am. I'm cool. I'm content with that. I'm here now. I belong here. I've belonged here for a very long time. And then the other quote that was kind of the money quote today, I just don't think that we're underdogs. I don't. So what that nobody picked us to be here. I'm pretty sure nobody is picking us to win now. So Jimmy is the living, breathing embodiment of Heat culture now. LeBron, is a guy who benefited from it greatly, but also made it happen. Let's not say that the Heat made LeBron. Okay, they made him better, but he did some pretty special things.
They both needed each other to get to another level, right?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. And I think that we're now sort of halfway to LeBron fully recognizing it and expressing it. But I do think that first year after he left Miami, he knew. He brought in James Jones and Mike Miller that year basically to babysit. I saw in the locker room all the time. He appointed James Jones and to Dion Waiters. That didn't work out so well. But he appointed Mike Miller to Kyrie Irving. And they still have a relationship to this day, by the way, because Mike basically became Kyrie's babysitter. And he tried to bring in guys who had been part of Heat culture to instill that in Cleveland. And he really had to blow out the whole organization before that actually happened. And, of course, they got to the finals that year and then lost to Andre Iguodala and the Warriors. But I think he's half of the way there. I think today he wanted to put it out there that, hey, it's not me. It's not me who's criticizing Spo or not recognizing Spo. It's you. I don't have an issue with Pat Riley. I respect Pat Riley. He wanted this all to just end the first game and get to basketball. That's it.
Get to the actual game.
Get to the game. And I thought he handled it fine. I put up a poll, what do you think of his comments today? And basically 45% thought he was genuine and 55% say he's either too little, too late, or not genuine. Okay. In the end, it doesn't really matter. We know what happened here. We know the Heat's role in it. We know his role in the Heat's championships. And this series kind of needed to happen.
Yeah, and it's more for the national media, right? Because that's the story. It's LeBron James going against the Miami Heat, and that's the story. And we know what happened. He knows what happens, but maybe the national media, the national attention is going towards that. It's a rivalry there. It's something else there. I think there's not.
Because there's nothing else, Alejandro, that the national media. Look, you can talk about Jimmy Butler, and but okay, he's not a bad teammate. We've established that, right?
Yes.
They don't really want to talk about Bam so much because they were all kind of wrong about Bam, and Bam's hard to get your arms around. Like you have to understand basketball to appreciate him as a budding superstar. The casual media person, the Colin Cowards of the world, they're not going to understand Bam Adebayo because all of them is just how many points do you score. Now he's scoring points too, so he's harder to ignore, but he's also doing everything else he did the entire year. He's now just doing it on the big stage. So he's hard to get your arms around. Tyler Hero is a great story, but it's hard to hype Hero because you don't know if you're going to get every game. And the rest of the team is, Goran Dragic, people know, but the rest of the team for the national media is kind of nondescript. Iguodala's past his prime. Jay Crowder's kind of known as, he's a guy. He's a good player, but he's a guy. And, Duncan Robinson's a great story, but, today the big story with Duncan was, about him basically trying to work for the Ringer. Like he sent in, this thing. He wanted to be a media guy. Like, okay, it's a cute story for a day, but ultimately this is about LeBron. ESPN, basically, if you watch ESPN today, and I tried to avoid it, but I caught a little of it, basically LeBron's playing LeBron. Like all their graphics are, this is Heat LeBron versus Laker LeBron. This is LeBron versus AD on who's the star. It's LeBron versus Michael Jordan in terms of, legacy. Not really LeBron versus, the current Heat. Like, the Heat are going to have to go up 2-0 in this series. And even then, it's still going to be about LeBron. So
yeah, the Lakers losing the series.
That's exactly right. So, I mean, the reality is the Heat can do whatever they do in this series, but the Heat will become, a national team again. It's not even winning a title might not do it. They'll become because it didn't for the Detroit Pistons. They'll become or the San Antonio Spurs. They'll become a national team again when Giannis signs. Then they'll become a national team. I said when, not if.
No, I think they're becoming a national team right now. If they sign Giannis, they'll become an international team.
You're probably right. You're probably right. And at this point, who needs Giannis, right? You already got.
It's interesting because last time I was doing the live tweeting party and I was getting messages from all over the place from people actually liking Miami and going for the Heat because they feel like they're represented in that team. They're not represented by the Lakers and just buying stars and bringing stars and just building a team. They like this well-fought team. They got here through sweat and blood and all that.
Well, it's organic. It's organic. This is a much more organic team than honestly any of the Heat finalists. More so than 06 when they brought in Shaq. More so than the big three teams. If you look at organic teams in South Florida, 97 Marlins were not organic. They went out and bought that team. I mean, in large regard, Alou and Bonilla and etc. The 03 team was organic. Dontrell, Miguel, that was Derek Lee. That was an organic. I mean, Pudge was the one guy, but the rest of the team was organic. 96 Panthers were organic. I mean, the Dolphins have had no success, so I don't even know where to go there. But yeah, I mean, but it feels better when they're your guys. When it's this hipster thing. It's like I knew them first. It's kind of cool. Like I was following Bam and Hero before it was cool. That's what Heat fans can say. It's different than, okay, we're just going to grab Giannis, and plug him in. Everybody knows Giannis now. So it's a great, great story. But if Heat fans, want to think that if they win a title, everybody's all of a sudden going to rush. No, it's not going to be the bandwagon like it was with LeBron Heat. I mean, the best thing, we'll close here, but the best thing I heard was there was a tweet that said, Laker fans, all the Laker fans are rooting against the team they rooted for 6 years ago because, I mean, they're just LeBron fans. They just relocate. I mean, a lot of Laker fans didn't want LeBron because they were Kobe fans. It's hard to know who's a Laker fan now.
And it's going to be hard for LeBron to really go over not only Kobe, all the stars that have been in that franchise history. But that's fine. Ethan, I know you got to go. You're going to be back at 8, right? Maybe tonight?
8, yeah, maybe. Although I just said everything I want to say. So but I'll be back. Check out 5 on the Floor. Check out 5reasonsports.com. And also, you were down to 24 hours to get 10% off on our website. So 5reasonsports.com. And the code is Floor Pass. It's not 5 on the Floor. It's Floor Pass. 10% off. So the other thing is I recommend if you're going to buy like multiple shirts, not just because we make more money, but because the shipping charges go down too. So if you're thinking about that second shirt, you might as well just get the 10% off and save on the shipping.
Yes, get your Christmas gift. Thank you, Ethan. See you later. We're going to be at 7 in 20 minutes. We're going to be live here talking about the Marlins. The Zoom calls are going in right now. They're about to be finished, and David Fernandez is going to come join us here in the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. I mean, the Marlins are playing the playoff game tomorrow. It's crazy.
I got something to do tomorrow afternoon now.
Yes, 2 p.m. and we're going to do a live commentary thing also. But thank you very much for joining us, and we'll be back with more Miami Heat content here in the YouTube channel. Thank you very much. See you soon.
Thanks, Alejandro.